You know how you've been in that phase where you are ready for a change, you're sick of being in the rat race, and you want to know how the wealthy do it. And how is it that the rich are getting richer, and how are they attracting and accumulating all this wealth and money? I am your host, Shikha Singh, and you are actually listening to the Science of Getting Rich series on our show. We do have the cast from the brand new documentary, The Science of Getting Rich. Our guest today came to the US as a refugee, and she learned how to get rich with the right mindset. She's not just a speaker, but is also a general dentist who runs two multi-specialty group practices in California. Not just that, she's also a business strategist, high performance coach to CEO and a lot of business owners. And to add more to her saddle, she is also an author of multiple books. She's been on a lot of podcasts, and today we have with us Emily Letran. Dr. Emily Letran is a business mentor, and I am so excited to learn what she thinks is the secret to getting rich. So let's get started and welcome Dr. Emily Letran. There you go, everybody. We have Dr. Emily with us today on the show. Thank you so much, Dr. Emily, for your gracious presence and for accepting to be on our podcast today. Welcome.
It's my absolute honor to be on, Shika. I love what you're doing, and thank you for providing a platform for us to come on, share our stories, share our strategies, and share what's working.
Yes, absolutely, of course. So let's begin. I am really curious and interested to know. I have already gone through your website, your details, your list of books, everything, but I want our listeners to know, to hear from you directly. How was your journey and what's your story?
Oh, my story. Well, I actually right now live in the U.S. Been living in the U.S. since 1981. I've been by training. I'm a dentist. Been doing that for more than 32 years. For me, the story, it's just like everybody's story, right? We have that uniqueness, and I like for everybody to cherish it, and share it in a proud way because I think the story defines each one of us. So I was actually born in Vietnam back
Okay.
in the late 60s, and that was during the Vietnam War. And in 1975 is when the communists took over, and the country changed. My mother passed away shortly after that.
Sorry.
And in 1981, together with my aunt, who is my dad's younger sister, we escaped from Vietnam. We escaped with my older brother and four other cousins. And when we came to the United States, it's like shocking. We don't know the language, we don't know the culture, we don't know the technology. We're starting brand new and really in awe, right, of what
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
available in the United States. And one of the big thing for me was the realizing that this is where true freedom exists. Because, as you know, there's a freedom of speech and the freedom of religion. I remember I came in August, and in September is a one of the big holiday in the U.S., which is Labor Day.
Labor Day, correct.
And I was wondering how come nobody go hang a flag in front of their yard or on the balcony, because that's what we had to do
Correct.
when we were in Vietnam. We were instructed to do that on major holiday like that. And people just tell me, well, you want to hang one, you can, you don't have to. And that was the first time when I realized, wait a minute, I don't need to do certain things. And I think that planted a seed,
Oh,
which is the seed of kind of individualism, right? That you
yeah.
can just be yourself. And then on my path of learning, I love to read books. So one of the first big book I read was Awaken the Giant Within
Yes.
by Tony Robbins. And I remember reading that book and then going to the back and reading all the references. And one of them is Think and Grow Rich. And then I read more and more and more books. And these are all personal growth books.
Correct.
And Then in about 15 years ago, I started working with a dental consultant, and he gifted everyone who signed up for his program the book, The Science of Getting Rich.
Oh,
And for me, the book was written very differently. The book was written in 1910,
right.
and it references some of these stories of the Industrial Revolution. And this is when I first realized that, there's history that you can learn from, and there's something for all of us,
Correct.
right? If we actually say, okay, I want to be rich, and you could define rich whichever way you want. It could
True.
be a big house, it could be a lot of money in your saving, in your retirement, in your real estate. For me, being rich has always been to be able to live a fulfilled life,
True.
right? And to be
100%.
able to do what you want. Because sometimes what people do looks great. Let's say you have a big mansion, and I look at it and say, oh, that's really nice, but I don't need a big mansion. You know what I mean? So if I try to follow that definition of richness, I won't be happy, because that's not what's important to me.
Correct.
So about a year ago, I had the opportunity to be in the documentary, and some of my heroes are in there. Bob Proctor is in there. Sharon Lecter, who is my first mentor. Um,
Oh,
I say, okay, I'm pretty sure I need to be in this documentary to share my story. Just kind of in short, I think the story that I usually share, and I think we should all share, is where we are right now,
true.
what changed us, and what would we encourage for our peers or our younger generation to do? Because I think we can always improve, right?
Correct.
Whichever lives you and I live right now, our children or the generations behind us, they can always make it better. It's already better, but for some reason, people are still complaining. There's still the same conflict going on over and over, and that's why I make it my mission to to help people focus on personal growth,
Correct.
and to be happier with what they have, and to understand that they have the impact to influence a lot of people around them.
True.
And so it's not just my story, no, it's your story that you can share, and you can inspire others.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, this the Science of Getting Rich, the documentary, is all based on this book, and you were chosen to be on this documentary, Emily. So, which principle do you really follow closely in your personal and professional life that is a big contributor or the biggest contributor towards the getting rich mindset or building wealth mindset?
Well, I have to admit, we are learning. I'm a
Yeah,
lifelong student.
true.
So just because you say, yeah, I follow all those principles, it doesn't mean you follow it every day or every month. But
Correct.
I think one of the big thing in the science of getting rich is that mindset of abundance, right?
True.
That you can have what you want. And I think a lot of time for us, what we're thinking is, oh, she was born in a rich family,
Yeah.
right? She lives in a better town.
Yeah.
We really, what we do is we're giving an excuse to ourselves. And if you just keep giving yourself excuses, you don't have any time to do the progress, right? To actually take yourself to the next level. So I think one of the very first thing when people feel I want to get rich but I can't, is that there's abundance in the world. And
Yep.
this is strictly a mindset thing. There's abundance in the world, and I deserve to have that abundance.
True.
And there are certain things that I can do to become rich. I think I think that's where it's very very important, because if I didn't understand that concept and believe in it, I think I would be staying where I was,
Right.
our family as refugee, right?
Right. Right.
I don't think I would be buying a house in a very high income area. And the reason we did that, and we didn't really actually belong there, you know. But the reason we did that is because we know that our kids deserve that, right?
Correct.
So when your thinking is there's abundance, that there's things for everyone, right? That if you want to do it, you can. I don't think anything would stop you.
Nice. Right? Those are some really good points that you brought there. And I'm going to go back to the point that you mentioned. It's all when you start these excuses, when you look at others and how
Hmm.
successful they are, you always come up with an excuse because you know you didn't go the extra mile or do that extra whatever they were ready to do or sacrifice.
Yes.
So, Emily, you've given so many talks and you've been on a lot of podcasts and you've written a lot of books. You are a business coach or mentor, plus you're in the healthcare field. You must have met a lot of people who are in this 9 to 5 mindset and people who live paycheck to paycheck, basically. So, what would be one suggestion that you can give to families of that sort who live paycheck to paycheck, who do not know how to even start cultivating that mindset? What would be the first step that they can take in order to start following the path that is in the book, in the documentary, and all about wealth and getting rich, whatever it means for them?
Yes, yes. I don't want to sound judgmental, you know, but I have this conversation sometime with people around me, my family, right?
Yep.
My extended family, when we complain, well, we don't have this. I would tell them 20 years ago, you didn't have this,
Oh,
right?
yes.
And right now, this is still not enough, right?
Yep.
So I think for a lot of people, when you say, have the 9 to 5, which there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, right?
Correct. True.
If you're living paycheck to paycheck, there's always room for improvement. But the very first thing is, and this is what I see a lot of people do, is they live beyond their means, right?
Correct.
They want to be like the Jonas or whatever expression you want to call, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
want to do that. And my question is, do you need to have that, right?
True.
A lot of time, and people say, I don't have time. Well, I don't have time to learn another skill. I don't have time to invest or learn how to do investment, etc. All you need to do is look at this thing right here, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
and your screen time, and and that's your time. That's
Correct.
the time that you can win back. So you are in total control of getting rich, right?
Correct.
Yes, there are the exceptions. Somebody who worked for a company and it go IPO, right, and then they
Yeah.
rich, or maybe somebody leave you an inheritance. Those are, to me, those are exceptions. But again, and not to brag, if I go back and I said, hey, my family, we came to this country as refugees and we were
Yep.
living on the supplement income from the government,
Yep.
and now in the family, I'm not going to count right now, but there are multiple doctors and engineers and entrepreneurs who own their own business,
Yep.
right? Um, that alone is a story of America, of the law of attraction, where you're going to attract what you want, right?
Correct.
And sometimes that attraction could be just putting the words out there. If you say, I'm looking to learn how to do investment, I'm looking to better my skill, all
Correct.
of a sudden these opportunities just kind of come to you,
Yes.
right? But you have to put it out there. Sometimes I talk to my coaching client and they say, well, yeah, I really want to work with you, but I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I have the money. And I said, what you really need to do is you need to tell yourself, this is what I want,
Yep.
right? This is my commitment. And then you'll be surprised, all of a sudden money show up
Mm.
for you to use in that particular thing, right?
Correct.
That's what the law of attraction is. But you got to put it out there. It's got to be that desire. You have to have that desire, because if you don't, one day you say, okay, I want to learn this, and next day you just, okay, now I think I would rather be on the couch and do whatever. That the universe not going to give you what you want. Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
Yep.
And but I don't want people to say, okay, well, I've been putting it out there and the universe not responding.
Yep.
Well, you have to be intentional. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you want to learn how to do investment. Well, do not share that with your friend who's also trying to learn how to do that. Probably share it with the people who are already doing it, and
Mm.
they will give you some pointers. They may say, hey, you know what? Start by taking this. free course, whatever, whatever it is. For me, a free course or a free something, you still invest the time. So
Correct.
it's never free. There's an investment, right? But be in the be in the right circle. Be around the people who will actually either help you or push you,
Yes.
right? It's I joke with my friends all the time, like, because we're in the world of dentistry, and a lot of dentists would, they're in a Facebook group and they would start complaining about health, or it could be about real estate or about accounting.
Yep.
And I'm always asking, well, how come, did you ask your CPA this, right? Did you ask your doctor this? Did you ask a real estate investor how to
Yes.
do this? Like, why do you go and ask your friends, the dentist?
Mm.
And a lot of them may not have even done it, right? So my one of my pet peeve for people, you want to grow rich, you got to be a student, right?
True.
You got to learn, because like I said, besides the exception of, richness being handed to you, we can all do that when we know how to do it. And you don't, unless you're a genius, right? You don't know how to do it unless you learn it.
Correct.
So yeah, so for me, when people are asking how, when, why, and all that, I always say, well, first look at yourself. First, talk to yourself. If you want to go invest in real estate, and it takes, let's just say, 100,000. I'm just
Yep.
making this up, right?
Yeah.
Well, how about, and if you only have 5,000, well, look for other opportunity, because
Correct.
maybe you're not ready with the real estate. But
Yep.
what people do is, okay, I'm not. I want real estate, and I'm going to wait until I get 100,000, and they just never get there, and they
True.
don't make any steps. And it's really is the baby steps, the step that you're willing to take every day.
Yep.
Maybe you're willing to put yourself in a circle that makes you uncomfortable.
Yes.
All of that is okay if you want to grow rich.
Correct. Wow, that is some good advice there. That's the whole point. I feel like after we reach a certain age, people are so scared to discuss, especially things when it comes to finances or other stuff. Something that stops them from going out there and being vulnerable, or even stating the fact that, okay, I have zero idea about this and I want to learn it and I want to better myself. And that could be in any area possible, but that one step is what begins, and it's just, it follows. And thank you so much. I'm learning a lot from this, so thanks a lot. You mentioned how the first step that we take is we go to our friends, right? That's, and they might also be learning from it. And you said go find someone who's already done that, or someone who's already doing it. So as a doctor and as a business coach, what are some of the few platforms that people can use? I know you already mentioned the phone, but any specific platforms that the people can use to just start learning about the basics of building wealth or being financially stable?
I want to clarify this a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't ask your friends, right? What I'm saying is, like, just forget friends.
Yeah, correct.
No, what I'm saying is ask the right people to get the right answer.
True.
And my analogy for this is, let's say you want to play tennis. Do you play tennis?
I don't.
Okay. Or swimming, whatever, right? Let's say you want to learn a sport. You can learn it yourself. I remember when I first came to the US and I wanted to learn tennis. So I went and bought because I was watching tennis on TV. So I went and bought a racket, and then I bought a ball. And now, what do we do?
Right.
So back then, I went to the library, which is free, and I borrowed these books on how to
Oh,
play tennis. And they have these pictures, this is how you take the swing and the backstroke. And I'm just copying, right?
yep.
And then I'm watching on TV. I'm watching, how all these athletes are swinging, and of course it took forever, right? But I wanted to play tennis for fun. It wasn't. I'm not trying to be a professional. Now, when it comes to my kids, I wanted them to get out there and exercise. So I said, okay, you guys all have to go play tennis because mom hasn't played tennis for a while. But what did I do differently? I hired a coach,
Mm.
okay, for them. because at now I'm able to afford a
Yes.
coach,
Yes.
right? So I'm going to hire a coach, and the coach is going to work with the three of them. I think it was 30 minutes per kid each week.
Okay.
So the point here is the coach is the catalyst,
Right.
right?
Right.
In 30 minutes, they're going to learn, okay, this is how you do this, how you do this, and then they can do it faster than
Correct.
me reading the book and I'm trying to look at the picture and I'm trying to imagine, okay, this is the swing they're talking about. So I think you should have your friends for support,
True.
right? You're frustrated, you wanted to vent, you wanted, to complain. Have the right friend who gonna support you. They'll listen to you complaining, crying or whatever. But have that mindset where you go, okay, I'm gonna call Sheikha. I want to talk to her about 15 minutes. I'm just gonna bitch about this, right?
True.
And then come the 15 minutes and I'm done,
Yep.
right? I'm gonna be done with it. And then I gotta go look for somebody who can really help me with this tennis or whatever, right?
Correct.
So when you have to be very conscientious of your time,
Yeah.
who you give the time to.
I
You
agree.
have the support system, so when there's frustration and things like that, you can fall back on that. But a coach, doesn't matter, a sport coach, business coach, personal growth coach, a coach is the one where you have a challenge. Usually the coach has a different perspective
True.
and the coach will give you an answer, right? No, this is, don't do A, do B or C.
Yeah.
And this is all about speed. And growing rich or money loves speed. There's a real estate opportunity. You don't sit around and wait until you get all the money to
Correct.
get it. You're gonna go borrow the money somewhere to
Yeah.
get it, right?
Yeah.
So speed is very important in being successful, and especially when you want to get rich. You want to do it with speed. You want to do it with efficiency. You want to do it with the right knowledge.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what I mean. Is it's not just don't talk to your friend. Your friends are there, but unless your friends have more knowledge than you, it's just going to be both of you trying to figure it out,
Yeah.
right? If
Yeah.
if you and I don't play tennis and we go out on the court, all we're going to do is go pick up each other's ball because
Right.
you're going to hit it and I can't hit it back, and I hit it to you and you can't hit it back, and so it's just that's all we're going to do.
Yep.
But if we actually know how to do it, then we can actually have that game going back and forth.
Perfect.
So look for help. Now nowadays you go to YouTube and you probably have the answer to everything, right?
Yeah.
My
Almost.
son just turned 24 yesterday, and he will tell me that he knows how to cook everything, and then he just look on YouTube and he's cooking this and that. Um, as adults, what I would say is for us, yes, go look up information. There's a lot of free information, and this go for the global audience. You don't have to be in the U.S. to watch
True.
whatever, right? But I need people to do one more step, and that is to do the due diligence,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
If somebody say, I can help you buy 10 houses, do the due diligence, do a little digging, make sure that that person actually own, 50 houses, right? Which is
Right.
why he's helping you buy 10. uh, this is all about attracting the right people into your
Exactly.
world, right? You
Right.
go and you look for the right person. So I say it's very simple. When I first wanted to be a coach, one of my first mentors, Sharon Lecter,
Yep.
why is that? I look at her and I say, I want to be like her, right? I want to write books. I want to teach people certain concepts. So for her, it was financial literacy. For me, it was personal growth,
Yep.
right? Now she's speaking, she's writing, she's in front of a lot of people, she's an influencer. I want to be like that.
Yep.
So what do I do? I'm gonna model or copy what she does. But she's a real person. I'm not gonna go online and look at, oh, this is the YouTube sensational person or the Instagram, right? I don't know how
Yeah.
many platforms there are.
Yeah.
And sometimes people say, oh, there's a lot of people following that person. That person must know something. And a lot of times, sometimes the person is a good salesperson,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
They can walk, they can talk the talk,
Yep.
but they don't walk the talk, right?
Exactly.
So I say be very responsible in your learning process,
Yep.
and be responsible when you're investing in yourself, because you're an investment already. Whatever you put on your head over here is, you also have to be selective.
Yep.
And the other thing, on the other hand, I know people who just study. They watch and they learn and they read more books and they do, more stuff, and but they don't execute. Right? They know a lot, but they have nothing to show per se.
True. True.
And that's when the coach become also important. The coach is the one to say, okay, now go do it.
Right.
Stop
Implemented.
studying,
Right.
stop reading. You already read 20 books. Now just go and try to make that happen. So I think in the learning process, like you say, whether you're with your friends or you're with the influencers or you actually pick a mentor or a coach, just be very intentional,
Yep.
and that's how you're going to get to what you want.
Perfect. 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 Okay. I do have one last question for you, Emily, and thank you for all the valuable advice and suggestions that you've given. Now, you are balancing a lot of things. You have your family, your profession, your personal life, and then all of these other things and ventures that you are in, plus you're a coach and everything else. Personally, how do you keep yourself motivated?
Oh, I think that's actually is a easy question. I think to to keep oneself motivated, hang out with the people who will motivate you.
Correct.
Hang out with the right people.
The right ones.
So I think one of the important thing keeping yourself motivated is to have goals,
Correct.
and besides that, to have ambition. I'll give you an example. So let's just say you make $50,000 a year, right? And you say, okay, my goal for 2025 is to make 60,000,
Right.
right? So I increased it by 20%.
Yep.
So then what you do is, if you keep thinking the goal is 60, right? So everything I do today is what takes me to 50. What can I do? What do I need to learn to get me to the 60, right? The
60. Right.
20% increase. So when you have that goal very clear, okay, and I would say reasonable, right? If you make 50, don't think that next year you're going to make 100. It's a little harder, right?
Yep.
And then when you set it too unrealistically, then you go, okay, no, that's never going to happen. Then you don't do it either. So
Correct.
so set a reasonable goal that is more ambitious and focus on that, right? Focus
Yep.
on that. And the second thing is learn from the people who can help you do that,
Correct.
right? And that could be, you may be in their circle. You know
Right.
how often you're in a Facebook group and then they talk about 20 things and none of them are really relevant to your goal,
Right.
but you're in there and then you're reading them anyway. So now you're wasting your time, right? I'll give you a very, very simple example. So let's say in dentistry, I'm in California. So let's just say in dentistry, each new patient who come in is $1,000. I'm just making this up. Okay.
Right. Right.
So if I say I want to increase it by 20%
Right.
and I have 10 new patients, what I should be focusing on is what are ways where I can bring in two more people.
Correct.
Yeah, that's it. Because I know if I bring in two more people, that's another 2,000. That's the 20% increase, right? So
Right.
now I'm going to look at information, YouTube, whatever, to figure out how to bring in more new patients,
Right.
right? I'm not looking at the number per se, the dollar amount. I'm looking at the number of new patients,
Right.
because unless those patients come in, the number is not going to go up,
Correct.
right? So when you're working with a coach like me, I will say, okay, these are the five best ways to bring in to get those two new patients.
Right.
And so instead of trying to go on YouTube and watch and things like that, now I just gave you five things. You only try to focus on five things. So I think, and this is how you get rich, right?
Yeah.
You be very focused, you be very intentional, and sometimes you're being very systematic,
Correct.
right? And not just you, you got to let the people around you know, hey, this is my goal,
Correct. Correct.
right? And I need you to support, to do this for me and to do that for me, because we don't want to be lonely in our journey.
Correct.
right? And as Asian, if we get rich, we're going to share it with a lot of people. so,
Exactly.
so you might as well get those people to help you, right? It's. I think it's very critical to get that mindset right,
Sure.
and that's why I love the book and I love the documentary because it talks about those mindset as it has to do with getting rich,
Correct.
right? Because if you say the science of being happy, I'm sure there's a lot more.
Right.
And then it kind of depends on how do you define happiness,
Yes.
right? What makes you happy? Because what makes you happy may or may not be the same thing that makes me happy,
Correct.
right?
Absolutely.
But when we say rich, there's kind of a metric to it, and you want to be filthy rich or you just want to be more rich, like richer than you are right now, you want to just get your game to the next level, all of those things you define.
Yep.
We're just going to give you the steps.
Correct. Perfect. Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Emily. This was such a pleasure to have you on the show, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, I wish you all the best for all your future milestones and more books and all the success that you can have. And again, it was an honor to have you on the podcast and this episode, Emily. Thank you so much. And we will look forward to watching the movie and getting to know more secrets from you.
Well, thank you very, very much again for creating the platform and for sharing with us. I really want everybody to be rich.
Yes,
I think it's if I can do it in this country, um, anybody in this country in North America could do it.
correct.
When you're looking at somebody in a third world country, I know it may not be exactly the same, but if you have that right mindset and if you look for opportunity, sometimes the opportunity is right there in front of you. You just need to see it,
Correct.
right? And I'm sure you know that. So I wish everybody a lifetime of richness. The achievement that you want and you deserve, and let's go make this world better for our kids and for generations to come.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
You're
Doctor.
welcome.
Thank you. I hope you have learned something useful and something that would help you transform your journey and get you one step closer to being rich and building wealth and being happy. If you want to know more, go check out the series and the playlists that I've linked here below. And if you haven't watched the documentary, The Science of Getting Rich yet, then go check out the link in my description box below to get a discount and a bonus. I hope you've enjoyed this and stay tuned for more episode in the series. Until then, keep growing, keep glowing, and be yourself. This is your host, Shikha Singh, signing off. Bye.